Langstone at the Ship Inn, and we're going to take in a walk. It's got all sorts of things in it: grave robbers, body snatchers, old castles, English Civil War. So come on, it's going to be great. So nice to see the pubs back open again, doing well. Sunday dinners, even on a blustery, sunny and warm day. The Ship Inn was originally an 18th century grain warehouse for the port of Havant, as Langstone was then known. Let's have a look at Langstone Quay. From the quay, past the slipway. It's a very lovely spot. And that's Hailing Island over there. So the quay, always popular with crabbers. Well, our walk starts back on the main road. Only for a short while though, I promise you. So at this junction, we go down Langstone High Street. The old high street to the village. Now, Langstone is a Germanic name, so probably derives from Saxon. Maybe Angles, but Saxon probably. Lang meaning long, and stone or stone meaning stone, so the place of the long stone. Now this old cottage has got an old fire brigade plaque on there, which proves they've paid to have the services of the fire brigade. Must have been a good idea paying for it, because it's still standing. And we're heading for the Wayfarers Walk.
It's a shame for the Royal Oak, because people used to like sitting on the wall along here.
The old sign for the Royal Oak creaking in the wind. Royal Oak, not yet open. Hopefully won't be long. So you see, they've all got boards that slot in place for flooding. That is one of the problems of living in Langstone, however beautiful it is. And this is Langstone Windmill. It's lost its sails. It's been a residential home now for many years. It's 18th century. It's an ex-tower mill, and it was also at one time the home to Neville Shute. For those of you who don't know, he's the guy that wrote A Town Called Alice and The Far Country, amongst other things. And hidden in the bushes there, it's a sign of the Solent Way, which we follow down this way. Bit of a water mill going on here as well, I think. A couple of heron. The ubiquitous pigeons get everywhere. We carry on. Might just be able to see in the distance the castle at Warblington, which is one of the places we're heading for. So that was the Langstone mill pond we've just passed, and it powered the windmill. It was a windmill as well, assisted by the water wheel for grinding the grain. That's a pretty horse. Having a lich on the fence. Carry on skirting the water's edge through the bushes. So that's a little narrow at high tide, which is roughly what it is now, give or take half an hour or so. But at low tide, of course, you could walk along the beach. So yeah, I've decided it's a lot easier to walk along the beach, that's for sure. It gets very narrow and a bit overgrown up there. Yeah, it's very pleasant, I must say. So as I say, there's Hailing Island over there, and then the water, the body of water, where we started at Langstone, this is Chichester Harbour. A massive area of water that goes in and out of all sorts of little creeks and things. Can't make up my mind whether that's old groin out there or wreck. I think it's groin actually. Anyway, nice bench for the weary. Nice bit of seaweed. Ooh, lovely. Shame I haven't got my flip-flops on. So we're carrying along the Wayfarer's Walk. That very strong wind behind me, so hopefully there shouldn't be too much noise in the camera. At this point, over towards Warblington, to the Kissing Gate. So, through the Kissing Gate. So here we are, we find ourselves in the churchyard to St Thomas of Becket Church. So there's some nice footpath signs even in the cemetery, so you can't go wrong. Follow the path this way. And exit through the gate. This is the St Thomas of Becket Church. It's a 12th century church, thereabouts, little additions here and there. It was called the Church of Our Lady, and it has a very specific problem. Well, it doesn't have a very specific problem, it had a very specific problem. In the 19th century, and the latter part of the 18th century, medical surgery was in development stages, and there was a call for dead bodies so that the surgeons could practice on the dead before they practiced on the live and just got to know the human anatomy. So what happened is there was a black market trade in bodies set up, and this church here was a prime location for that because it was out of the way, it was quiet, and the grave robbers were able to go about their business undetected. Well, the reason it's out of the way and quiet dates back to the 15th century. It's an exercise in cause and effect, really. A chap called Sir Richard Cotton, he owned the manor, which is just over here. This is on the land of the manor, actually. And he decided that he didn't want the peasants living around him, so he got rid of all the peasants and cleared their houses to make a deer park. So that then left the church very remote from Warblington village itself. Very remote, ring of lovely yew trees round, out of sight from everybody. Perfect for the grave robbers and the body snatchers. So let's go and have a look and see what we can see. Church may be open. I'll have a look. No, we're a bit early. The church is closed at the moment, but we're going to have a look round it, and I'm going to show you some of the features that were built especially because of its unique problem. So a lovely old porch is still there, and it's a shame we can't go inside. In the chancel there are some floor tiles. They're actually made further over in Hampshire, near Winchester in Otterbourne. So that's a lovely old oak porch. Those tiles, by the way, are called encaustic tiles, and they were a speciality that were made in Otterbourne. Over in this corner, I'll show you something. Now this is one of two grave guards, huts if you like, and they used to be stationed here at night in the 19th century. These were built to guard the graveyard against the body snatchers. As you can see, the church is surrounded on all sides by yew trees. Now, I've spoken before at length about yew trees, but some of you may not have seen my videos before, so I'll go through it again. A yew tree was important to the Christians because they saw it as a sign of death and rebirth, just like Jesus himself. They thought that because the branches of a very old yew, they can dip down, and when they come in contact with the earth they can reroot and another tree can sprout from that. Hence why there's so many yew trees in the graveyards. Around the back of the church now, and as you can see in the opposite end of the churchyard there's another grave watcher's hut for the same reason, keep out the body snatchers. Now this yew has got to be 1,000 years or more. Look at the girth of the trunk. They're marvellous trees, yews. My favourite tree, even though I love oaks, yews are a bit special. Anyway, so that's the history of the grave robbers and body snatchers. So we'll continue our walk towards Warblington Castle. I didn't notice the steps before, so you could step over, presumably before the gates. Anyway, we leave the church behind and walk on down past the farm towards the castle. So I think the farm is owned by the retired Olympic rowers, Tom and Diana Bishop. So that's the residential part now. There's nobody living in the castle for obvious reasons. Oh no, there's a house directly underneath the castle, so perhaps that's their home. Anyway, more about the castle in a moment. So there's been a manor here since probably Saxon times, but the building you see in front of you is newer than that. It was built in the 15th century when Sir Richard Cotton took over the manor. There had been permission to make it a crenellated manor since the 13th century. Now, crenellated manor is a sort of fortified manor. Crenellations are these bits on top of the castle tower. So there's been a lot of royal visitors there. Edward VI stayed there, first Queen Elizabeth stayed there, and a lot of notable people. The Earls of Southampton, they got everywhere. But anyway, in 1643 it was garrisoned by royalist forces under Colonel Norton, which was bad news for the castle because it was besieged by parliamentarian forces under Lord Hopton, and the parliamentarians won, which is good, but it wasn't good for the castle or the manor, because that was demolished in 1644, apart from what you see there, which is one corner and a bit of the gate. That says Wallington Castle Farm, and they've obviously got their own dairy delivering milk. There's a couple of milk floats there. But we carry on up the main road. Well, the main road, it's a lane, isn't it? So when you get to this junction on the left, Pook Lane, we head down it. So at the end of the lane there's a choice of left and right, and you head right. And hopefully, very shortly, we'll find a footbridge, which will take us over the busy A27. Well, you know where to come if that's your bag. Very early blackberries. So we come off of the bridge and we're going to take this little footpath down between the houses. And again. So at the end of the road here, turn right. So for my overseas viewers, this is a post box, and this one is one from the time of George VI. So that would be late 30s, early 1940s. The overgrown bike sign, and zip down here. See past the Marjorie Harris Wallflower Meadow. Little pond, sweet little place. And then you carry on forward. And we carry on over. Actually cross a railway line there, a disused one, and with this road in front we continue on the footpath. As you can see, it's quite an old bit of Havant, the old farmhouse. So we walk onto the main road into Havant, past what looks like an old school. So it says the Spring. It's on Town Hall Road, so maybe it was the old Town Hall. Anyway, we head left. You just see the church tower up there. It came around the front of the building to investigate, and we're heading down towards Havant Town Centre. Post office. Good example of an 18th century Georgian house. Most of Havant is Georgian. So there you are, Magnolia House. And East Street's one of the most desirable parts of town to live. 1799 this, and this is the Bear Hotel. Closed. One last look at St Faith's Church. So West Street leads down to the Meridian Centre, a new shopping development. But we're going to go this way, down towards the railway station. Another church. This one United Reformed. That's got a lovely old brickworks owl's frontage. Similar to the front of the car at this time. So here we are at Havant railway station. No, we're not taking the train home. We'll get back to the car first. The reason we're here is because we're taking the old Havant to Hayling Island branch line, commonly known as the Hayling Billy. It opened to freight in 1865, but was held up until 1867 for passenger work because the embankment that they built along the edge of the harbour, it kept slipping and the railways buckled a little bit, so it was unsafe for passengers for 2 years until the inspector finally said it was okay. Carried a lot of holiday makers down to Hayling Island in its time, and it carried on until 1963 when it was closed, because at the end of 62 the wooden swing bridge over at Langstone, it needed replacing, and they thought that the cost was too much. Anyway, this is the old platform that would have taken you down the branch line to Hayling Island, so we're going to start our walk down what is known as the Hayling Billy. So there's an old southern train at the platform now, and that's going to be heading down the line towards Brighton. But we're on the old platform 1, so use your imagination, and there's a little tank engine, Thomas the Tank Engine style, waiting on this platform. And we're going to head off towards Hayling Island. So we go, we're setting off on the London, Brighton and South Coast branch line, the Hayling Billy. I'll make sound effects. Woo woo. popular little walk, this. Answers on a postcard if anyone knows what on earth they're talking about. A little stream running alongside the line. Anyway, back onto the line. Lots of walkers and cyclists on here now. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Bench made of railway sleepers. Very evocative of the railway, with the old wires running alongside what was the track. So in order to follow the railway, we cross the main road. So we've crossed the road and you can see the railway disappearing into the bushes again. Lovely view, but very blowy. Back onto the railway line. That's a lovely design gate on that house, I like that. Well, the railway comes off onto the road bridge now because of the aforementioned railway swing bridge which rotted away in the early 60s. Listen to the wind through those halyards. It's been that a windy a day today. Although I don't think tide has quite been that high. Anyway, you've just got to cross the road now, back to the pub. So here we are back at the ship. We've done about 4.5 miles. Nice bit of mixed walking along the seashore, bit of history, bit of town centre, bit of railway history. And so it's been about 4.5 miles and we're back at the ship. If you enjoyed the walk, then please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.